And we're ready or not. Here we come.
We're ready. We're back. We're back. Main Joe, thank you again.
Mojo, thank you. Opening up the doors to Mojo Studio once again for a podcast evening for the Two Joes podcast.
For the Two Joes. Always my pleasure. Thanks for setting up the studio and for making our guest feel so welcome tonight.
We have a wonderful guest. His name is Val. He's originally from Bolivia. He is a golfer extraordinaire, and we're happy to have him on the show today. See, on our first segment, we were kind of getting to know him and everything. Where would we like to go this segment?
I've got several. I was fortunate enough to speak with him prior to you showing up and setting up the studio. And I think the first place I would like to start is the food business. He's looking to start with his wife. He told me his wife is just a chef extraordinaire, a cook extraordinaire.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
You can't see this, but he's pointing toward the evidence. Nice.
What's her specialty? What's the best thing she makes in your opinion, and the best thing she makes in her opinion?
Well, Mexican food. She's from Mexico.
Oh God.
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
Oh, enchiladas, gorditas, tamales, pozole, burritos.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I forgot about my country food. Yeah.
I was in
Which is a bit different, I imagine.
Oh yeah. There's no corn, tortillas. Yeah, and she complains. How do you guys live?
I like flour tortillas too, though.
Yeah, they're great. They're quesadillas.
Oh man, that's awesome. Do you have a favorite Mexican restaurant in town by chance, or do you not? Haven't found one quite up to
He probably has no reason to ever go to one.
That sounds that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Everything would pale in comparison, I imagine.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No,
All
I
right.
haven't. In Logan, Toro Viejo.
Oh,
Yeah,
Toro
Toro
Viejo.
Viejo, never heard of it.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
in Logan. If you guys ever go
I go to
Logan
Logan fairly often. My brother-in-law lives up there.
Oh, okay.
And he usually takes us, well, we usually end up going to Olive Garden or something like that. But Toro Viejo,
Yeah,
I'm going to tell
just
him.
across where Al Sports or there's a Sporting Good.
Okay.
Just
So it's on the main
behind.
strip there.
Yeah, the
Okay.
main street.
All
Yeah.
right. All
It's
right.
down
I'm trying to remember that.
1,000 north.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you still go up to Logan every now and then? Yeah.
My kids, they live. My ex-wife lives there with my kids.
Okay. It's a cute
Yeah.
little town.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it up there. It's beautiful.
I love it.
So
Cool.
Are you and your wife thinking of like opening up a shop or something, or like a food truck, or what?
Well, we want to go to events and all
Concerts
this-
and sporting events.
So more like a
Yeah.
food truck kind of
Yeah,
thing.
kind of like a food truck, but it's kind of like yesterday we had it. They had it a Hispanic culture celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was
And
that?
It was in Gateway. At the Gateway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had different dances from Mexico, from Puerto Rico, Colombia, and places like that. Yeah. Food, the same display, different places.
Awesome.
And
So did you see something there that kind of said we could do that?
oh yeah.
And what was it? Was it a food, not a food truck necessarily, but just like a tent or something they would put up and
No,
they would cook on?
Well, if
or-
I may, Main Joe, he explained this before you got here this
Uh-huh.
evening. He said, "Yeah, we can do that, but we can do it better
Yeah,
than
and
what you were
faster.
saying, and faster,
And don't make it run customers.
don't make a run." I'm sorry.
It was too much waiting for this.
Too big of a line.
Yeah,
and-
too big of a
and-
line.
yeah.
And 50% they just left. Because
I
it
get
was
tired after a
taking
while.
too
Yeah,
much.
Yeah.
30 minutes to 45 minutes to wait for something that it can be done in 5-10 minutes.
I hear you.
Yeah. And
so it was more of a canopy tent type of thing, not a food truck though. Is that
it
what
was
I'm
kind of
seeing
like
here?
a food, kind of like a
Picturing?
canopy thing.
Yeah, one of those. It's not really a tent. It's just an awning essentially that you put up, and then they have maybe some cooking, some way to cook in the back, and then they take your money up in front.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Okay,
right.
I think I'm
It
getting
was
the
a
picture now.
churros.
That would be cheaper than buying a truck or even a trailer or anything like that. You got to start small and work your way up.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And
So-
I believe if you make it faster and better, I believe by
Better mousetrap.
calculations.
A better mousetrap.
Well, you're going to get your
is-
name out there. It's a great name to get your name out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully, have you brainstormed a name yet that you want to call
Valerios.
it?
It's got to be Valerios.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
No, it's going to be Merval.
Maribel.
Merval.
Mervel.
Merval.
Spell?
Merval.
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 So it's a combination of names.
Yes. Mercedes and Val.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very cool.
Wow, I don't know.
Very cool.
Mercedes is pretty good. That's catchy. You might want to just go with that. I mean, because everyone knows the name. I mean,
We already have the
Merval.
domain name.
Oh, Merval.com.
My Merval.
Merval.
.com.
Merval. That should work. Merval. Oh, yeah.
Oh, beautiful,
Yeah,
man.
I like it.
Do you help your wife in the kitchen at all, or are you mainly just going to the
I
store
cook.
and getting ingredients? You
She
cook
likes,
too?
Yeah.
Okay.
She likes my ceviche.
Nice.
I don't know what that is.
That's fish. Basically, it's raw fish that's
Raw
cooked
fish.
in lemon juice, kind of. The lemon juice kind of cooks it because it's so acidic.
That sounds
So
good to
it's
me.
almost sushi, yeah.
Good.
Those
Yeah, it's
sailing
kinda like
shows
sushi.
that I watch, they're always making it because it's a good, easy way to eat the fish they catch off their boats.
What's the name again?
Ceviche.
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 Thank you.
Right.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
And then I do grilling. I like the different meats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Very cool.
now in my project is do cabrito. Yeah. I'm
You know
trying
what-
to do the grilling.
You know what my favorite is? When I go to a Mexican restaurant, kind of one of those benchmarks, I say, okay, how is this? This I'm talking about is the salsa. Gotta have good. How is your Merval's salsa? Oh.
Riquísimo.
Let me tell you about it. Muy
He's
delicioso.
coming to the next jam. You and your wife are coming to the next jam, and I want to have some of this salsa. I want to have some of this lemon fish, I want to hear some of your music also, Val.
What kind of music might that be, Mojo?
Listeners, if you're ancient like Manjo and I, you might have seen some of the advertisements on TV. For only $19.99, you can get Zamfir and his magic pan flute.
Yeah.
And so Val.
I'm
earlier-
guessing Val could probably give Zamfir a run for his money on the old pan flute.
I would sure think so.
That's the
you know,
idea.
And if we get a jam going, we do some Jethro Tull. This guy could go off the charts, But he showed me some clips on the phone of the instrument that Zamfir played versus what he played. Now, Zamfir played the pan flute, at least as far as I saw on the album cover on TV. And you called them something different. What's the
Pipes.
Pan pipes?
okay.
Pipes.
Pan
Yeah,
pipes.
like a pan and pipes.
So the flute you play it's made out of I don't want to say bamboo, but bamboo type of wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like a bamboo, different sizes.
Now,
and
is that
length.
something you make yourself? Did you find a place to buy it in?
Well,
the
I
States
buy it
here, or
in Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Yeah,
Have
they
it shipped
make
here.
them
That's
really good.
The artisans there make
Yes.
these.
Yeah.
Did you play in school? How long did you play? How many years did you play?
Well,
And
I
did you do
played
performances?
for about a year and a half, probably. But it was, every time we went and play celebration, people, it was more drinking. And I kind of didn't like the drinking part. I wanted to go a little bit more, but it was the way to go out. But at the end, I quit. It's been
How long?
more
How long?
than
Yeah.
20 years, 25.
Well, man,
Yeah,
Joe,
that
wouldn't
was
it be
when I was
wonderful?
20 years since you've jammed with your
Yeah.
pan flute?
Yeah.
But
Pan
Mojo,
pipes. Pan pipes.
Okay.
Pan pipes.
Is that what they call them in Bolivia?
Yeah.
Pan
What he's
pipes?
called, yeah.
What is
Well,
the
we
what is
call zampoñas. Sampoñas.
Ponias. I like that better.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
Zampoñas.
that sounds
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
But we drink at our jams, dude.
We do.
And sometimes I get pretty toasted.
Well, we're drinking tonight, and he's
But
not.
never at the expense of the music, right?
Never, never,
We just play music, and then when we're done, we play more music. It's hard to leave.
said,
Sometimes we go to 1, 2, 3 in the morning. So we're never without music. If that's why you stop going to those, then because they just get so hammered, they'd stop playing music. I understand that.
Yeah.
That won't happen with us.
No.
We are focused on the music.
On music.
It's all about the music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The beer is just a Help my fingers fly a little faster. Help me overcome I don't want to, I'm too shy. I don't want to scrub a chord.
My fingers hurt, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been playing for an hour.
Yeah, no. I need to remember, I tried a couple years ago to try to go back and play. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do some church musicals.
Okay.
Yeah. But it takes time, you know. It takes a lot of dedication too. And kind of like didn't have much time for it. But I would like to sometime to get back and try to motivate myself with the.
Well, we'll try and help with that.
Yeah. We'll do our best to help you with that.
Absolutely. We're going to encourage you to come to a jam sometime. Yeah. Because we really believe in the creative, like we were talking about quality of life earlier, being creative and being a part of a creative endeavor like that, like jamming with friends or whether it be art or writing or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think it's a huge part of a high quality of life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you get what I'm trying to say.
You mentioned, trying to improve every day, and music is the same, exactly the same.
And then when you start playing with friends and that, when you're not playing with friends and you're waiting for the next jam to come around, you're way more motivated to practice and try and get better.
Oh, I can't wait to share this with the group, man. They're gonna love this. And
that's when we were talking about entrepreneurship and. It's true. Whenever you are in that environment, you're pulled to do better. Yeah. That's the same way with entrepreneurs. You have to be with higher people, with entrepreneur people that they are thinking ahead of you, because that's what it pulls you. But when you are the same in golf, you want to go with the biggest ones, best, because that's where you're pulling to do better.
I agree.
That's why he asked to be paired up with Conga Joe and me. He wanted to be with the best golfers on the course. That was
playing from the white tees.
No, it was just to motivate myself that I can beat those guys.
He just beat the hell out of these guys. It wasn't even close. I mean,
that's awesome.
And I didn't lose a ball that day, man, Joe. I didn't lose a ball.
That's impressive.
And he beat me by 9 strokes from the blue tees. Wow. It was
That's
something.
very impressive.
Yeah.
Well, Val, can I ask you about your time in Bolivia and your childhood there, where you were raised? Were you near the coast? Is Bolivia coastal?
Yes.
No.
It's landlocked.
It's a landlocked.
Wow, I'm embarrassed. I should have known that.
I had no clue.
My bad.
Yeah, we're in the middle of.
You border Colombia?
No.
God, I'm striking
with
out.
Chile.
Ecuador.
On the southwest. On the west side is Peru. North and east is Brazil. South east is Paraguay.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you don't border Ecuador either? I need to look at a map. I'm embarrassed.
But dude, I make maps for a living, and I didn't know any of this shit. I didn't know.
My daughter-in-law's from Ecuador. Not daughter-in-law. Sister-in-law is from Ecuador, and I should have known.
No.
So were you raised in like a big city, smaller village?
Yeah, La Paz.
La Paz.
I heard of that.
Okay, I can spell that. I can spell La Paz.
La Paz, yeah. It's 13 to 14,000 above sea level.
Mm-hmm.
Feet
nice.
above sea level.
Okay.
Yeah, we have big lungs.
Nice.
And
big what?
Lungs.
Lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a lot of oxygen that you need up there.
So you look like a Sherpa. You kind of look like.
Do you ski at all? Is that part of the reason why you're here in Salt Lake? Is for the skiing, for the mountains? The mountains just kind of make you feel like home a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah, right. Cool. Right. And we have a big mountain, Chacaltaya. There's a lot of people that they go ski there too.
Yeah, I used to read ski magazines pretty regular, and they'd always go down to Chile and Bolivia and ski in the summertime. You know.
Well, see, there's my ignorance there too. I thought that's all tropical. It's nothing but palm fronds and heat and humidity. But no, they've got elevation down there too.
Oh, serious! The Andes are huge, man. Yeah. So we're talking the Andes when we're talking skiing down there and stuff.
We have part of valley and jungle where the fire.
So you have
what's
some
happening.
you have some Amazon in
Yes,
Bolivia,
yes.
and your farmers were clearing some land, just like people do when they want to grow crops to feed their
Yeah.
cows and whatnot. You know?
I don't know if you guys knew about the fire going on in the Amazon.
Yeah.
Well, I do, but that's that's from my understanding. That's how it got started, and that's essentially what it is. It was started on purpose. People trying to clear land for farms and cattle and things like that. It wasn't like a lightning strike that just started the Amazon on fire.
That's the first I've heard of it. I didn't know how
Oh,
it
you didn't?
started. No, I knew the fire was going on. I had no idea how it started.
No, they start like that.
I don't
For
even
farming.
know. I don't even know if it's out of control or is it just a bunch of people trying to clear some land. I'm not sure on that.
Is it still burning
yeah.
right now
Yeah.
as we speak? Is it?
I
is it still-
I lost about that one. It's
Because our media covers something for 3 days and then they're
that's
off to
different.
something else.
off to the next war
Yeah,
or,
or
something.
whatever. Yeah.
So growing up down there, then would you consider it a really good childhood? Did you enjoy your childhood? And you had a lot of friends, and school was
Yeah.
good. And did you suffer any civil strife? Was there violence in the streets like we hear from the drug cartels and stuff? Or-
No,
nothing like that. Excellent.
It was. It's a peaceful place, except a few times where there were some political issues and there was some killings.
Political killings?
Political killings.
Wow, that's scary stuff.
Yeah, for a week or two. But I was in the south part where it wasn't that much. Yeah, but it was just for a few times. Then most of the time it's not like Peru. Peru, it's very violent.
Colombia and some of those places.
Yeah, even Mexico nowadays.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous. But
main-
Bolivia was
Pretty good place to grow up.
Yeah.
You felt secure. You felt safe at night.
You had
Yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
eat,
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, my parents, they provided pretty good.
Yeah, what did they do for a living?
My dad had a mine, like gold mine.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah,
He owned it or worked in it?
Well, they get together
Co-op.
and they make
Cooperative.
Yeah,
Okay.
cooperatives.
Nice.
And then that's where he worked. In the past, he had a truck and then bring some containers throughout the border of Chile. Yeah, because we are more a consumer country than a producer. Nowadays, we produce mostly quinoa.
Quinoa.
Yeah, quinoa. Yeah, that's
Kinoa?
It's like QU.
yeah,
Q. Yes.
INA.
Yeah, it's a really cool, kind of like a grain, but it's high in protein, so it's
Yeah.
kind of all the rage lately. My wife and I eat it. We used to eat it fairly regularly because of the high protein content.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen
And it's
it.
pretty big in California, I think, with all
Isn't
those.
it NOA
weird
though?
diets.
Is it quinoa?
Yeah, it's QU.
That might be the American
INA.
spelling. That could be the U.S.
Yeah,
spelling.
right.
of it,
I
yeah.
can't remember how to spell it. But.
Yeah.
But, Joe,
okay.
this is one of the, forgive me for getting political here, and I'm not going to blame this on Trump, but, we hear of friends like Val who come from Bolivia or Colombia or South America or anywhere down there, and we immediately think invaders. What are you doing here? And are you coming here because there's nothing but drugs and civil strife and the bad times everywhere in South America is just a hellhole. But now we hear no, this is not the way it is. I want to thank our friend Val for the opening eyes to people are cool from all over the world, and it's. Well, let's meet more people like Val from other places on
Absolutely.
the planet.
Like I've said on the podcast, I've met people from all over the globe, and people are people. And it's just awesome. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but what prompted you to leave Bolivia and come to the U.S. was more opportunity. You're looking for more opportunity. It wasn't that it was so bad in Bolivia, but maybe not as much opportunity because you're more of a consumer nation, and you were looking for something a little more.
Right. It is that that you want to make better for your kids.
Continuous improvement.
Yeah, continuous. Yeah. And that's why I see on my kids that they can improve. If I study late in my years and then I'm obsolete in the workforce, then my generation that's coming, they can study and graduate at a younger age, and they can change things, and can get better. And that's our dreams for parents too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even though we don't succeed, but they are the ones that they're going to succeed. And I think part of the Constitution here in this country was from the beginning that, coming from Sweden, from Germany, from England, from all this area part, China,
all over, yes,
all over. They're the ones that they did the railroads, and bring it up. This country it's that part, but in some part we're losing it.
We forgot.
Yeah, we forget that the power it's in that.
Continuously improving.
And study after study, I believe, has shown that immigration, illegal or legal or otherwise, I should say, improves America. It's better for America to have them over here working hard and paying taxes. And okay, a handful might slip in who are MS-13 or not good people. So we're going to shut down the whole thing because a small handful of people do some bad stuff. It's frustrating for me, Joe. There are countless stories, just like our friend Val here, countless that make America better, and all we seem to hear about are the bad stuff that comes over, and it's.
The thing is that that there's bad people, and they're caught. But they are put in jails and put back out, and they come back. But they already know who these people are. Yeah. But now other people are paying for the fall of these people, because they're closing everything because of that. But it's. They don't realize that they put more money into the economy.
Yeah.
Like for example, there is people that they don't have their papers, or they don't have their Social Security thing, but they're reporting. These employees are reporting the Social Security and the Medicaid. And if it's $100, let's put it $100, and there's 1 million of them out there. How much is that? It's $100 million every month. That's going where? Are they going to claim that when they are 65? No, they're not.
Yeah,
they're just going to some other Social Security for somebody else.
Yeah,
and I think this. They knew this, and that's why in the past it wasn't stopped. It wasn't given to many people. They legalized.
I think part of it is, excuse me, they know all this, but they just need, someone to blame. That's what politicians do. They want you to be fearful. So okay, we're going to make these people fearful. Who can we blame it on? Immigrants are easy to blame stuff on because they're poor, they have no voice, they're easy to exploit. So let's blame everything on them. Get everybody up in arms. Oh, they're stealing our jobs, they're doing this, they're doing that. It's like they just do it for the fervor. They're trying to rile their base up. They're trying to bring their base together over some boogeyman that they create. You know what I mean? Yeah. When the real boogeyman, in my opinion, and I can't talk for Mojo, but I think he might agree with this, is the money, the people in power, the corporations, the 17 families that own, what is it, over 80% of the wealth in this country. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, we got to refocus here, people. Who is really running this country? I mean, you heard recently, like one of the Koch brothers recently died, and it's I don't forget where I was going with this, but they've had so much negative influence on this country. A lot of people are not too sad about his demise.
Yeah. I'm just so tired of and disgusted by the vilification of the the hardworking people want to come here and make a better living either for themselves or at least for their kids. Right. And our friend Val here is a perfect example.
And they come from all over. They come from Bolivia. They come from Mexico. I've met people from Austria here looking for opportunities, starting their own businesses.
Yeah.
That's what they're coming here for. It's not. They're not trying to bring our country down in any way, shape, or form.
No. You know what might be an interesting journalistic inquiry is to see if the same rules for entering America legally are applied to everybody who wants to come in. So we get Val coming in from Bolivia. Are the same rules applied to him as someone from Denmark or from Norway or Iceland or something like that?
That would be an interesting study.
It would be kind of an interesting thing to know. Maybe it is the same. Maybe it's as tough for anybody to get in. Doesn't matter where you're from. Well, it might be.
Yeah.
I think it's more for Mexico. It's tougher than anybody else. For me, it was easy.
Yeah. What was your experience like coming here?
Well, my experience I think I was brought up somehow very miraculously because the first time when I went to the embassy trying to get my visa, they ask you a ton of papers, money and all this.
We're talking the U.S. embassy. Yeah, so you went to the U.S. embassy in Bolivia, and said, "I'd like to come to America and work."
Yeah. And they ask you all this ton of work, papers, and that day, with my wife, we argued at around 7:00 in the morning, and then 7:30 we decided we pray and say, okay, let's do it. Let's go and let's see what happens.
Nice.
And we went in a hurry that I forgot my papers. I forgot everything. Those papers, she was just carrying the passports. And whenever I stay in line, and then my name they called, and I asked her, where's the papers? And she said, no, I don't have it. I thought you had it. And I had other papers for a contract because back then I had a small clothing business. Then, and that was the contract that I had it. And when I went there, everything changed. I didn't know how to answer. And I told my wife, we're not going to get no visa here because we don't have nothing. We just have our passport. And that's it. And then the council asked 3 questions. Said, do you speak English? I said, yeah, a little bit. And then he said, is that your family? Pointed to my family. At that time, I had my 2 kids, Christian and Eric. And I said, yes. Then the 3rd question, what do you do for a living? And I said, I have a small business, clothing business. And then in my inside said, why don't you say a big business? Just impress this guy. But
your honesty.
Yeah.
Hey.
Perfect.
Well, he might have followed up and found out you were lying.
Yeah, maybe that's what he was looking for.
Yeah, probably. And then he said, come back at 4 o'clock. And then I was in a shock. And I said, okay. I got out. And I asked my wife, but he didn't ask for the papers. Probably my English is bad. And he said to go to window 4 to present all the papers. And she said, let's go back in. And then suddenly somebody else comes out and yelling at us that who we were. And I said, I don't know. I'm trying to recover from a shock here. I don't know what I said inside. It's everything. I don't know if I'm all this is reality or what. And she said, no, we saw all of us that you guys didn't show no papers, and then you guys have the visas. And I said, seriously? That's why they said at 4 o'clock. And we waited until 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, we went back, and we had our visas.
So this goes against everything I've seen on the media and on the YouTube documentaries, where it takes months or years to get these things processed.
Yeah, no.
And
She said, look, I'm 1 year here. Every month they ask me one paper after another one. But you guys just went out. We didn't see no papers, just the passports, and then you got out.
wow.
And that was and then I came here in 2000, and January I work here. I look where to live. I came to Salt Lake, then I moved to Logan. I saw it was a nice place to raise my kids.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, here it is. 6 months later, I went back, brought my family, and we were supposed to be 6 months and then go back.
Yeah, because visas don't last forever, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. It was a tourist visa.
Oh, okay.
And for 10 years, it was the visa, but every 6 months, you need
have to
live
leave
the
for-
country. Yeah.
For how long? Just
For
like a week?
3
or-
years to 3 weeks.
3
3
weeks.
weeks or 2 weeks, yeah.
And then
It
you can come
depends.
back for another
Yeah.
6 months.
Another 6
Yeah,
months.
okay.
Well, so now, how long was the entire process then, from when you decided to come to America and you first showed up to start the process until when you got here? How
It was
long?
1 day.
One
One day to
Wow.
get the visa.
Okay,
That was
I'm all
that's
messed
it.
up now.
And then it took me like 2 months to get the airplane tickets and then come.
So my question is so you're here, but you only have 6 months. So you
Yeah.
find a job, you're working that job for 6 months. Then what do you tell your employer? Oh, I got to leave the country for 3 weeks, and then I can come back.
That's what I told my employer, and luckily it was a friend,
Ah,
and he had a mechanic.
And he
shop,
understood, and-
mechanic shop, and he is the one who told me, "Hey, go back and bring your family.
uh-huh.
It's no good to live apart.
Right.
You guys,
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
tough on
need-"
a family
Yeah,
for
right.
sure. Yeah.
And
So how long before you got to the point where you could stay here? You didn't have to leave for those 3 weeks. You got a permanent residency, I guess it's called.
yeah. Well, that's where I was going.
Okay.
6 months later, in July, I went back and brought my family.
July of 2000.
Yeah, 2000. And we were supposed to leave in December. And we family gather, and then we prayed again. And I told my wife, I said, look, if we stay here illegally, we don't know when we're going to have an amnesty, and we're going to be able to visit our parents. We don't know. But if we leave, we can come back again.
Yeah.
What do we do? And we prayed. We decided to stay.
Oh.
We stayed that Christmas. January comes, and President Clinton said there's an opportunity. The I-245, I think it was, an employer can sponsor you.
Wow.
And it was another piece put in together in a place. And my boss at that time, I was working for Solinger's Tree Farm. And they said, yeah, sure, we're going to do that. And
What a story, man. That's very cool.
and that way, and after a year, I lost my hand. I went to school. I said, I want to study. And they said, okay, take this test. Do you have the ACT test? I said, yes. I took it in 87 in Bolivia. And I called the offices. They said, okay, where do we send it? Utah State. They got it. They didn't ask me no papers, nothing.
Mangel, this gives me some hope, man. Maybe it's not as bad as I think it is. Maybe.
Well, but this was a while ago, dude. Things have changed.
Yeah.
20
Yeah, yeah,
years
yeah,
is
yeah,
a significant amount of time. I mean, I had one guy at hockey. I play hockey, and this guy he's from Czechoslovakia or Czech Republic. And he was thanking Reagan, of all people, for signing some bill into law that allowed him to be here. So it's timing and serendipity, all that stuff comes into play.
Right,
But I want to clarify one thing, though. So there was a short window of time there that because you guys didn't leave the country when you were supposed to, you were technically illegal then at that point.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
For a month.
For a month until Clinton came up with this new program.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we put the papers in, and at those times, there was a lot of people in California. They would ask you, okay, we're going to make you residents. We're going to fight for your papers and all that.
But
let's just start with $2,000.
yeah,
I gave them 2,000 and I lost it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that they've been doing this type of things.
that's
And
There's the ugly side I was
Yeah.
looking for.
that
I
ugly
guess.
side of America is there.
yeah,
Man.
and luckily, like I said, it wasn't just lack. Lack would be one time. But
Yeah.
this is the second time.
We're talking
for
something
paper.
else.
Then when I go to school, they gave me a paper to write to see how my English was, and they said, okay, you go 10-10, and I said, wow,
10-10.
yeah, English 10-10,
Okay.
and then you're gonna take math 1260, and that was trigonometry. And I said, maybe I don't remember. Let's go with
Math 201, maybe. It's something, yeah, it's something.
no, it was the 51 class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started there,
Okay.
and at that point and on, I started realizing that it was something else, something superior, that brought me here, and gave me all these opportunities, put in place and I don't blame it. The loss of my hand, that trigger to take these classes. You know, maybe if I didn't have that loss, maybe I wouldn't think about school. Maybe I would have been at this time at the
Tree farm.
tree farm.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing, you know.
It harkens back a question I wanted to ask of something you mentioned a little while ago. The main reason you came to America was for better opportunity.
Yeah, right.
And so I'm curious to know, whether it's Bolivia or Czechoslovakia or any country, can you state some specific government law or regulation or something where you went, you know what? I've got to put up with that bullshit here, but if I go to America, I don't have to put up with that bullshit. Am I being clear?
Oh, yeah.
So,
right.
is there anything specific you can point to?
Well, I had here. I saw more honesty in this country, and it was much better than in our countries.
Even when that guy took $2,000 off you for nothing.
Oh, well, yeah. That
Overall,
that
was just a blip in the
There's-
road.
there's
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
overall. Like,
Regardless,
for example,
even beside that
Yeah.
fact.
like for example, the scholarship, they didn't see my ethnicity. In Bolivia, yeah,
Oh.
they put first the minister's son.
Interesting.
They choose on the government level.
Wow.
Wait, say that
People
again.
in-
Wait, put the what?
The people in power
Yeah.
fix it so they stay in
Yes.
power. They get the education. They
Yeah.
get
Okay.
the breaks.
90% of helps that they go to Bolivia or any country from Mexico all the way to South Chile. Chile probably is the only one that's bad. All the other countries, 90% goes to their pockets or politician pockets, and the rest barely goes to the country from development and all this type of
Infrastructure and whatever. Yeah.
But you
you know?
mentioned though there wasn't like widespread famine and poverty and things. You had a really nice childhood.
Oh,
in
for
Bolivia.
from my parents, yes, I had it, but there's a lot of poverty.
Okay.
There's a lot of poverty.
You saw poverty every day
Yeah,
growing
yeah.
up. See, I didn't
Growing
really
up,
see
you
poverty
see it.
growing up.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
didn't either.
Yeah.
I came from a small town from the wrong side of the tracks, and I still didn't really see poverty. Not like what
No,
you're talking about.
down there is a lot. That's one of the reasons that I wanted that my kids can go and visit their own country and see, and they can
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
that someday, if they are prosperous,
Mm-hmm.
they can help in the health and education, or in those areas in these countries.
Wow.
You know, because that's my dream.
That's
If
awesome.
sometime I have the lack of being a millionaire. What do I want? The millions.
Yeah.
I just want $100,000 to live,
Yeah.
to have a nice. But the rest, I can put it all on this: education, health,
Yeah.
and entrepreneurship in these countries. you
Yeah.
know? Trying to motivate this people to be entrepreneurs and grow in their own countries.
Well,
and give them the opportunity to do so.
It kind of gets back to the specificity that I was after. You said you operated here in America an automotive repair shop.
Yes.
So if you tried to do that in Bolivia, was there just hurdle after hurdle and you couldn't do it without bribing some government official or something?
Down there, at every corner there is a mechanic.
Okay.
Every corner there is a body shop.
Yeah.
But there's no opportunity because even lawyers, they're taxi drivers.
Wow.
You know?
Really? Lawyers or taxi drivers?
Taxi drivers.
Wow.
You get an education, but you start doing the taxi driving or been selling cars, used cars, just trying to make
ends meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but here you have a dream, and you can make it.
Opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity.
Okay.
Right now, I have all the bases. I have like 30 ideas, but it's just the timing when I need to.
Yeah.
And who to present these ideas, and I didn't lose hope yet. Still, there is going to be something that's going to happen and turn it, because I think there was a reason for all this to happen. The accident, the studies, and the coming here.
The podcast.
Yeah. The podcast. Yeah, right. Everything I see as an opportunity, I see as an open door.
I love it.
And I don't want to lose it. I just go with the flow.
Oh, love it.
It's
keep on
business.
motoring, keep on trying, keep doing your best, keep improving.
Yeah.
Eyes open, heart
keep
open.
the river flow wherever it goes. Sometimes we want to force it to go one way, when it can happen a lot of things the other
easier,
way. And let it just go that way. And that's what happened with my education. And I think with this podcast too, out of the blue.
Not out of the blue. Not out of the blue. No.
For me, it was
out of the
really
T-box.
Well, indeed it was.
For me, I said, hey, we want to invite me. What? A little bit confused, but there is that sense. Okay, just try it. Let's see what happens. You don't lose anything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Nothing but possible gain, really.
Yeah.
And if anything, we've made a great new friend.
New friend.
Manjo. Yeah.
So awesome.
And, what I'm about to say is realistic, but I hope it doesn't come across as cruel or too blunt. But quite honestly, Val, if you were not missing a hand, I don't know if I would have invited you on the podcast, because I found it so interesting, the way that you excelled at golf and beat my ass at golf with an apparatus. And I thought, okay, this makes him interesting. The fact that he's missing his hand.
Yeah, I see.
If you weren't missing your hand, would I have invited you on the podcast?
Well, and it wouldn't be because you just maybe wouldn't have noticed him as much.
Yeah, we would have been friendly. We would have had a great round of golf, but I never would have thought, I got to know more about this guy.
I want to hear this guy's story.
Yeah,
maybe it wouldn't have come up as,
It's so
interesting.
And I'm not one of those who says, oh, well, everything happens for a reason. There sometimes losing your hand works out for the best. I'm not one of those guys who says things like that. But
well, for me, kind of like I said, if it didn't happen, maybe I wouldn't be here.
I'm more along the lines of you. I believe in that serendipity. I get the feeling that I'm, for lack of a better word, divinely guided a lot of times in my life. And so I'm somewhere in between the two of you, maybe. I'm a little bit more
And also, like Einstein said, in the difficult times, it's when good things happen. When you're struggling the most, you are thinking more ahead. You're opening your everything. It's working in you, and that's where you are saying, like me. I said, okay, I'm going to go to school. But if that doesn't happen, when you take it for granted things, and then you don't think on those. You just say, okay, it's a normal life. It's good. I'm gonna go work, come back. But when you're struggling, I've been struggling with one hand, and that's when it start triggering,
the good stuff,
getting better things, thinking in better things, and Einstein says that if a country it's going through a really hard time, that's when good things can
Another reason that we should be grateful for Trump.
That's fair. Yeah.
Great things on the horizon, on the future for this country. We're going to get back to creating opportunities for as many people as we can, immigrants and citizens alike, and we're going to raise the boat for everyone. That's my dream.
Trump will improve this country, but not by intention, not by what he meant to do. You know, it's oh man, I had another question. But
did you? I can back off.
Back off a little bit. What was it, man? Shoot. Well, Val, I guess I'll have to wait for the next podcast. The next round of golf or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this opportunity.
There you go. Thank you for joining us. Thank you,
and I'm very grateful to my kids, Christian, Eric, Kevin. They make my life a good journey.
There you go.
And my special wife now, a Mercedes.
Nice.
And, sometimes I think I'm wealthy because I have a good life. But still, hope. And we can change things and do better.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward.
Yeah.
That's and everybody else can do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right on. Wonderful, inspirational words to end the podcast. Man, Joe, would you agree?
Absolutely.
That's a good fade out right there.
Let me try again. There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. To Joe's podcast. We'll probably be back with another segment or two, at least a wrap up, if nothing else. I want to thank Val for joining us. Great to have him. Hope to have you again someday.
Yes.
Soon. Mojo, you're the best. Thanks for finding these wonderful guests. Love it.
Yeah, somehow I stumble on them. I don't know how I get so fortunate, but I'm going to keep doing it, man. Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Thank you again, Val.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.